Hey, I'm Mac,
I'm Mike.
and this is More Than a Game.
Back out to Allen. His three-pointer. Tie game with 5 seconds remaining.
Today on the second episode of In the Spotlight, we have Coach Wallace, a college coach for Grand Valley State University. I had a great time talking to Coach Wallace. We talked about many things: high school, college, professional basketball. Had a really good time.
Yeah, it was one of the great interviews where I think you guys would definitely be able to grab a couple nuggets out of it. As always, the whole point in having us sit down and interview people or have him interview people is just to get a feel for what it's like for a young teenager to have a chance to speak with someone who's been there, done that, and can share a wealth of knowledge to actually help these guys prepare for the future. So with all that being the case, hope you enjoy this. More importantly, make sure you guys subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, and leave us a comment. Let this guy know how he's doing. So he's in training right now. So I hope you guys enjoy this interview with Coach Wallace.
So I'm Mac from More Than a Game, and today I'm hosting Coach Wallace. He attended Central Michigan University. He is currently the assistant coach at GVSU. Played multiple years overseas and won multiple championships. So welcome to the show.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me.
So we're gonna start off with questions about his career from middle school, high school, college, overseas, all that. So the first question is, do you have like a best memory that always comes to your head if somebody asks, what do you remember, or what is your greatest memory, or something like that?
As far as high school and middle school goes, I guess middle school, the fondest memory I have is actually perfect for this interview, is that as an 8th grader, I had to sit out a game because I had 2 Ds. And so, but having to sit that game out and my team still won was a great life lesson for me. Because I was like, man, I thought I was invincible. I'm this best player. They can't win without me. Yeah. They did it. And, you know what I'm saying? And my dad had some choice words for me after the game, too. Yeah. So it was a good lesson to learn in 8th grade that I took with me all the way through high school, all the way through college. And, I've started to value my education, as well as don't just be a basketball player, but also be a student athlete. Yeah. So that was the middle school one.
So what about overseas and maybe college?
Sorry, what's that?
What about maybe overseas and college? Like a best memory.
It was great just to in college. We had a great run my senior year. Got a chance to play with great players like your dad, and so it was great. We had a great group of guys that really bought into the season, really bought in to try to make that year the best it possibly could be. And we did that. We maxed it out. Yeah. And so, and that, catapulted in a lot of guys having great overseas careers. Your dad, myself, 3 or 4 of our other teammates, as well as, Chris Kamen going to the NBA. So it was like, man, that group of guys, really got all they could out of that season, which ultimately helped you do the best you possibly could, overseas. And went overseas, played for 8 years, got 3 championships, and it was a blast. It was a blast. And as a coach now, I try to encourage my guys to work hard wherever you at, and so that you have options later. You know what I'm saying? You have options later. So bust your tail right now. You don't know. Everybody wants more playing time. Everybody wants more shots. But do the best you can right now with what you have, and then you'll get more. So
how you said how Coach Kamen went to the NBA and how you went overseas and all that. Is there anything you would have done differently that really stands out now?
No. Because if you change something, if I average a few more points, or if we got this win and we didn't get this win, then it may knock it all off. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I enjoyed my time, and even then, I have a saying now with my players. It's not losses, it's just lessons. Yeah. And even then, though, we looked at it like that. Yeah. We looked at it, and what we did our senior year at Central Michigan, a lot I attribute to my sophomore year there. Just we made it to won the league, got put out in the first round of the MAC tournament, and so our senior year, I was determined not to let that happen. So I learned that lesson 2 years previous to where we could do a great thing in 03.
So throughout your whole career, what was your biggest challenge that you faced, and how did you adapt or overcome that challenge?
It was a big challenge of you getting into going into college and not being the guy, that was a challenge. To get your head wrapped around that, even though I knew I had, players like your dad and David Weber, and Jamar Hill and those guys ahead of me, John Borvidges and the Tim Kisners of the world. I knew that, but at the same time, I'm still J.R. Wallace. You know what I'm saying? From Muskegon, Michigan. Don't get it twisted. I'm going to do my thing.
Yeah.
So, but that wasn't the case. And, and the challenge I have for my guys now and for young people like yourself is that you said there's going to be hurdles. There's going to be obstacles. You're saying the only thing that you can't do is quit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you can do it. You can figure it out. Go to the coach. Watch more film. You'll get more shots up. You know what I'm saying? And you can even soak a little bit. You know what I'm saying? If that's what your thing is. But you just can't quit. You got to keep fighting. You got to keep digging. You got to keep going. And you got to keep showing up every day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because fast forward, you know what I'm saying, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you're a father. You don't get to quit. You don't get to stop. You know what I'm saying? And those are the life lessons that basketball can teach you.
Yeah.
So
last question about your personal self, but could you explain a little bit how overseas went and things that you had to do in overseas to either get there or to adapt to being in a different country and all that?
The biggest thing was being competitive. You say that, a lot of people say they want to go overseas or they want to go to the NBA, they want to do these things, and there's a lot of sacrifice to that. So to go overseas and to play 8 or 9 months, outside of the United States, away from your family, you can't see everybody. And this is, before we had the FaceTimes and all that good stuff now to make it easier. But so just to be able to have those phone cards and call home, that's a big sacrifice. And everyone sees the glitz and the glamours of the championships and the games, but it's 9 months, 24/7 that you're not at home. So that was a big hurdle to overcome. But my love for basketball and my drive and my competitive nature, did that for me, helped me overcome that. And then so I got immersed into the culture. I was able to play in all Spanish-speaking countries. Started out in Argentina, then went to Chile, then went to Spain, and then finished up in Venezuela. So, and I was not just there to be there as a visitor. I wanted to immerse myself in the culture. So I learned the language, and I learned to read the paper and all that good stuff. And now that's a skill that I have that I use, in recruiting. I'm recruiting a couple of kids from overseas right now. So it's like it's an asset. You learn a skill in one setting in life that you can use later. So that's what I did while I was over there.
So out of all those places you named, what would you say was your favorite?
Man, the favorite place would probably be Spain.
Spain.
Just because it's more like the States. The climate is the same, and in South America, you always felt like you weren't at home. When I was in Spain, their setup and the malls that they have and everything, it felt like, okay, I could live here. I could do this for a long time. Yeah. And now that we have making all these roundabouts here in the States, it's like that over there all the time. Little roundabouts on every corner. So I like Spain.
Yeah. So moving more to a coaching aspect, what would you say as a coach you see is the biggest adjustment that high school players have to make moving into college?
Man, the biggest adjustment is, you have to be more giving. You come into a program, you come into any place, you got to try to literally humble yourself and don't come in thinking that you have all the answers. Ask a lot of questions and be humble enough to learn and look at guys, whether it's their eating habits, their workout habits. The guys that have been there 2 or 3 years, even if you feel like you're a better player than they are, they've been there 2 or 3 years in college, so they know what coach wants and they know how to get through a grueling collegiate season. So I think that would be the number one thing. You get there, you get on campus, and be a big learner, be a big time learner, looking at these guys and all the things that they do and humble yourself, because the thing that got us recruited a lot is that confidence and that courage and whatnot, but you don't want it to be, foolishness. You don't want it to be so boastful and prideful that it gets in your way. So I would say get there, learn, watch from the guys, and, listen more than you speak.
Now, would you say that sets them ahead of other college players and that can get them more prepared for just life in general?
Oh, no question. No question. You sit there, you get a part of an organization, you become, whether it's the corporate world or your entrepreneurship or whatever you want to do, if you can get into those meetings and you can take a lot of notes and you can observe people. You're saying then that helps you be ahead of the game. So many people get in and they start to talk and they want to get on stage and they want to be out front and not having all the information, as opposed to sitting back in the back and observing and getting better and watching how people that are successful. Success leaves clues. So if you're sitting there watching those guys or people, then you're ready to go, as opposed again to coming in with all the answers, and that puts a lot of pressure on you. You want to, especially as a young player or a young person going on in the business world, you want to be able to just watch and see and grow from behind.
Mm-hmm. So could you explain to me the recruiting process and what coaches look for and what stands out the most?
Work ethic. If you work hard, it's always that's hard to deny. It's hard to deny when a kid is running, full speed down and back and boxing out and contesting shots and talking on defense and being a good leader. And you can't fake it. You can't fake it. A lot of guys have, you're thinking that everyone's thinking that they're Kevin Durant, or they're thinking that they're LeBron James, so they can just chill and relax and coast and just get to my spot on the floor and do my thing. But what we're looking for at the collegiate level, we know that you have a skill set, whether it's shooting or dribbling or whatever. But it's like, when we know that you're going 9 times out of 10, you're going to be at the bottom. You're going to get, because you're not going to be the man. You're not going to be as strong or old as these other players that we already have. So can you do your characteristics or do your skill set, can it come and translate to the locker room immediately? You know what I'm saying? I know that you got to get stronger. I know you got to get faster. I know you got to get adjusted to the game. But working hard translates immediately, because I know that you're going to bust your butt in practice. I know that you're going to go hard. So, okay, hard work is big. You know what I'm saying? And then being able to be a servant leader. You know what I'm saying? What I mean by that is that, you know what I'm saying, being willing to get rebounds for guys. You know what I'm saying? And encouraging guys. Because, again, you're not going to be that instant sensation coming in playing 30 minutes as a freshman. So it's going to be difficult. How can you help the team get better? And most importantly, overall, incoming guys that do programs, you got to be willing to work while you wait. You got to be willing to work while you wait. You know what I'm saying? As you're waiting and bust your butt to try to get more playing time, get more minutes, be willing to get into the gym early. Be willing to look at those ball handling drills, or those defensive drills, or even those talk drills. We have even talk drills because guys don't really talk that much anymore. So be willing to do those things so that you can enhance your game and you're working while you wait. So when your number's called, then you're ready to go. So I think those things will help, guys be better players and be better prepared when their time is called.
So as a coach, what's the hardest thing to actually teach players, either young or old, and what do you think would be the easiest thing to teach?
The hardest thing is being a coach that could play. That's a challenge, because you used to be able to go out there and do that. Oh man, let me show you. And so that's a big challenge. But I think the hardest thing to teach is the competitive fire. You know what I'm saying? The competitive fire that I had as a player. It's hard to show that, or to put that in your players. It's impossible. So you try to put them in situations so they can display it and they can see, okay, that's not being competitive, or that is, you know what I'm saying, that's being soft, or that's whatever the case may be, whatever adjective you want to use for it. So teaching competitiveness is a challenge. The easiest thing, I think, would be just to be able to show them how to show up every day. And how do you show up? Is that, you know, saying some teams have, I've been on teams that have the Vince Lombardi rule, where you got to show up 15 minutes early, you know, or you're saying show them how to stay late and put the work in. So it's always, as a coach now, I can just say, hey, we're going to get shots up after practice. You know, I need 15 minutes with you after practice. We're going to groove that shot, or we're going to work on the ball handling. So I can do that. That's the easiest thing, you know, and you try to give them samples of those workouts for your post-practice. And then hopefully you see them, you know what I'm saying, a week or two goes by and now they're doing it on their own. And so I said, man, that's the thing that's most consistent, the thing that I've learned in coaching, that is the easiest thing to do. Okay, show a guy, you know what I'm saying, to get more shots up after practice, or show him a drill. And then if he has some success in games or in practice, then he's willing to keep doing it, keep going. So
as you see players evolve, how does it feel as a coach to be like, I helped him with that mainly, and we worked on this, and he's just growing as a player and as a person.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. It's why I coach.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's about, you know, taking the player from point A to point B,
mm-hmm.
and adding things to his game to help him be a better player. And then those I think I do the best on bus rides. Mm-hmm. What do I mean by that is that sitting in the middle of the bus with our guys and cracking jokes and listening to the music that they listen to and listening to them describe the movies that they like, so that I can connect with them
mm-hmm.
and help teach them better and help paint better pictures for them when we're doing drills or when we're doing things. But it's always about, you know, using basketball to teach life lessons for my guys. So, because I know that they don't feel it yet, but one day they will be me. They will be me, married with a child, and I want to make sure that they have at least, you know, one coach in their corner that knows that, hey, you know, I got you. You know what I'm saying? I've been there, done that. Here you go. And these are the pitfalls that you got to watch for, and these are the things that you do well and you need to keep doing, and these are things that you need to work on if you're going to be the player that you want to be, and ultimately the man that you want to be.
Mm-hmm. So, being that you play basketball and that you look to help players, is it easy to be with them all the time? And I know that's like what you like to do and your favorite thing as a coach, but how is it to adjust to what the certain things that they like, or meeting their family and all that stuff? How does that all go down?
It's always easy when you're real,
mm-hmm.
all right, when you're genuine all the time. So it's like, it's not, when I recruit a kid, I don't really tell them. I'm fortunate enough to work at a great university at Grand Valley State. And so, like, we have a beautiful campus, and, you know, we have a great institution. And so I tell them all the positive things that are truly positive things. Mm-hmm. There's nothing for me to hide in the recruiting process. And then I'm who I am. You know, I really care for kids. I'm a loving father. I'm a loving husband. And so I tell my guys that, and I share that with their parents. So when they come to a basketball game, or they want to swing by the house and have dinner or whatever, they see that. Yeah. So it's not something that I'm just talking about it. It's just, you know, in the recruiting process, it's who I am. And so it makes it easier. Mm-hmm. And again, I used to be them. So therefore I get excited, and I'm like, man, I can't wait for this kid. Can't wait to see you 10 years from now. You're going to be great. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So it's always fun to do that. And so take my kid to practice. He comes out, hangs out with him every once in a while. Mm-hmm. And matter of fact, he's coming in here being nosy. Come here. Come on, come here. Okay. Oh, man, look at that. Oh, look at that. Just say hi. Can you say hi? Upset. Can you say hi? No, I can't believe it. I'm a bad man. But yeah, so ultimately, you know what I'm saying, it's always easier to be genuine and be real. Mm-hmm. So if you do that, then there is no ifs, ands, or buts, or coach is saying this, coach saying that, and it keeps your head clear to be able to be the best person you can possibly be. Yeah. It's like, okay, I kept it real. I was genuine, whether it was the good news and the bad news. You got to be able to tell them this honestly and forthright, and then let them deal with it. And then just be there to be, you know, a cushion for them when they do fall and bump their head, they do have a bad grade, they do make a poor choice. You can try to curve that, and hopefully they learn the lesson so it's not as severe. And I'm going to change the importance that they make. Mm-hmm.
So being that you no longer play basketball, you're a coach now, could you explain to me what life is after the game, how you adjusted? You have a family now, but just the whole life after the game.
Basketball's a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a beautiful game. It teaches you a lot of life lessons. And if you pay attention enough, if you play long enough and you pay attention to it, mm-hmm. You'll pick up a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And the biggest thing is you every team I played on, I had a different role. Mm-hmm. You know, I had a different role. Some teams I'm the captain. Some teams I was the rookie. Other teams I was, you know, whatnot. Mm-hmm. So if you can commit to those different teams or families, so to speak, then that gives you a dry run to prepare for yours. Mm-hmm. And so some days, you know, I'm in control of my household. Some days I'm not. So it's like, okay, you know, so sometimes my wife's running the show. Sometimes my son's running the show in crazy situations. But I have to be able to adjust with that. And because I play different roles on different teams, mm-hmm. then I'm able to. And because the most important thing is for my family to be successful. Yeah. The most important thing is for my family to have a great life and enjoy our life and enjoy our time together. Mm-hmm. So same thing goes with our team. If you want your team to win and you do whatever is needed for your team to win, then you will learn different roles on that team to make it successful. Some games you're the rebounder, games you're the screener, some days you're the scorer. But if you put it all for the team, then you literally get to learn those lessons and see that, oh, we were successful while I was playing the background role, or we were successful while I was the man, or whatever the case may be. If you had success playing different roles, then that just helps you prepare for life, because you're not always going to be able to be the man, or you're not always going to be able to be in control. But, you know what I'm saying, if you're moving your family forward or you're moving your team forward, then you're doing what's right and what's best for the group.
Yeah. So that was my final question. Do you have anything else you'd like to say to me or the general audience at all?
No, man, I just think, I'm excited for you. I love this show. I love this idea that you and your pops came up with. I want you to continue to develop this and keep working at it, man. I know your pops is really proud of you. I'm very proud of you. So
thank you.
It's fun to see you as a young buck.
Yeah.
Now you're growing up, man. And it's nice. It's nice. Your mom and dad have done a great job with you. And so just keep up the good work, man. And I'll be staying in tune. We subscribe, so we're going to be watching.
Thank you. So that was Coach Wallace in the Spotlight, second episode. I think it went well.
For sure.